At our family picnic, my husband introduced his mistress to everyone, including our kids. She smiled, hugged my mother-in-law, and sat in my chair. Then I played a video on the big screen that showed her husband, my husband, and a secret nobody saw coming. What happened next went viral. Before I tell you about the day that changed my life and broke the internet, I need you to do something for me. Hit that subscribe button right now and turn on all notifications, because the stories I share here are raw, real, and unfiltered. This is about what happens when a woman decides enough is enough. Now grab your popcorn, because this story has more twists than a roller coaster. Let me take you back to that Saturday. My name is Angela, and for 11 years, I thought I had the perfect marriage. You know the kind I'm talking about. The kind that makes your friends a little jealous at dinner parties. My husband Kevin was a sales director, charming, successful, the guy who always knew what to say. We had two beautiful kids, Isaiah, who's 9, and Kennedy, who's 6. We lived in a nice house in the suburbs with a backyard big enough for the kids to play in. From the outside, we were living the dream. Every summer for the past 10 years, we hosted this big family picnic at Riverside Park. It was our thing, you know? Kevin would grill, I'd make my famous pasta salad, and both our families would come together for this one perfect day. It was tradition. It was us. But somewhere around January of this year, things started feeling off. I can't even explain it properly. It's like when you walk into a room and you just know something's different, even though everything looks the same. Kevin started working late more often. He joined a gym, and suddenly he was there every evening. His phone, which used to sit on the kitchen counter while he showered, was now glued to his hand. When I'd ask him about his day, he'd give me these one-word answers and change the subject. I told myself it was work stress. He'd mentioned something about a promotion coming up, so I figured he was just focused on that. But then came Valentine's Day. He forgot it completely. Came home at 9 p.m. with no flowers, no card, nothing. When I brought it up, he looked genuinely confused, like the date had just slipped his mind. That's when that feeling in my stomach got louder. You know that feeling, ladies, that gut instinct that tells you something is wrong, even when you don't want to believe it. I started paying attention, really paying attention. I found a long blonde hair on his jacket one day. Now I'm a black woman with natural hair, and we don't have any blonde women in either of our families. When I asked him about it, he said it must have been from someone at the office who hugged him goodbye. Reasonable explanation, right? But then I noticed charges on our credit card statement. Expensive dinners at restaurants we'd never been to together. A weekend trip to a bed and breakfast 2 hours away. The same weekend he told me he had a business conference. In late March, Kevin left his iPad at home. He never did that. This man took that thing everywhere, like it was attached to his body. I was in the kitchen making breakfast when I heard it buzz on the coffee table. A message notification popped up on the screen. It said, "Missing you, baby. Last night was amazing." My heart stopped. I picked up that iPad with shaking hands and opened his messages. And there it was. Months and months of conversations with a woman named Veronica. Explicit photos, "I love you" texts, messages about their future together, plans for him to leave me. They'd been together for 8 months. 8 whole months, and I had no idea. I sat on that couch and cried until I couldn't breathe. My marriage, my life, everything I thought was real. It was all a lie. But after the tears stopped, something else kicked in. Anger, pure, cold anger. I called my best friend Tasha, and between sobs, I told her everything. Tasha didn't tell me to confront him. She said something I'll never forget. Get evidence first, then get everything. So that's what I did. I didn't let Kevin know I knew. I acted normal. I smiled when he came home. I kissed him goodbye in the mornings. But in secret, I was documenting everything. I took screenshots of every message. I noted every charge on our credit card. I created a fake Instagram account and found Veronica's profile. It was public, and she posted everything. Beach vacations I recognized from Kevin's business trips. fancy restaurants where he'd taken her instead of me, designer bags he'd bought with our money. Her bio said, "Living my best life," with a heart emoji. But then I found something that changed everything. I scrolled back through her photos to 2 years ago. And there it was, pictures of her wedding day. This woman was married. Her husband's name was Michael Thompson. He was a firefighter, and they had a baby girl together named Zoe, who looked about a year and a half old in recent photos. I sat there staring at those pictures, and my brain started working overtime. If Veronica was married, did her husband know about Kevin? I looked at Michael's Facebook page. It was full of happy family photos, posts about how blessed he was, pictures of him holding his daughter with captions about being a proud father. This man had no idea his wife was destroying two families. And that's when the plan started forming in my mind. Early June, Kevin came home one evening and said he needed to talk to me about the picnic. My heart started racing, but I kept my face calm. He said, "Babe, I want to bring someone this year. Veronica from my office." I played dumb. I asked why. He gave me this whole speech about how she was new to the area, didn't have family nearby, and he felt bad for her. The audacity of this man, standing in our kitchen, asking permission to bring his mistress to our family event. I looked him in the eyes and smiled. I said, "Sure, honey. The more the merrier." The relief on his face made me sick. He actually hugged me and thanked me for being so understanding. Meanwhile, I was thinking, oh baby, you have no idea what's coming. Kevin told his mother about Veronica. Dorothy, my mother-in-law, called me all excited about how thoughtful her son was. Dorothy had never really liked me. She always thought Kevin could have done better, married someone from a better family, someone more refined, I guess. So when she called me going on and on about this sweet girl Kevin was bringing, I had to bite my tongue until it bled. I just said, "Yes, he's very thoughtful. You'll definitely remember meeting her." Then I did something crazy. I created a professional-looking Facebook profile and sent Michael Thompson a friend request. He accepted. I sent him a message explaining that I was a wife who discovered her husband was having an affair and that his wife Veronica was the other woman. I attached screenshots, photos, everything. Then I waited. 3 hours later, my phone rang. It was Michael. We talked for 2 hours. That man was devastated. He kept saying, "I thought we were happy. I thought everything was fine." He told me about all the times Veronica said she had to work late or had girls' nights out. All of it was lies. She was with Kevin. When I told him about the picnic, about how Kevin was bringing Veronica to meet our entire family, Michael got quiet. Then he said, "What do we do?" I told him I had a plan, but I needed to know if he was brave enough to go through with it. The plan was simple, but devastating. Kevin was bringing Veronica to the picnic to introduce her to everyone. What he didn't know was that Michael would show up too. We'd expose both of them in front of everyone, both families, all the lies, everything out in the open. Michael hesitated at first. His pride was hurt, and I understood that. But then he said, "They humiliated us. They made this choice. Tell me when and where, and I'll be there." I also hired a private investigator. Cost me $3,000 that I withdrew from an account Kevin didn't know I had. For 3 weeks, that investigator followed Kevin and Veronica everywhere. He got footage of them kissing in parking garages, videos of them checking into hotels, receipts showing Kevin paid for Veronica's spa days and shopping sprees with money from our joint account. I took all of that evidence and created a 10-minute video compilation, added timestamps, locations, bank statements, the whole thing. When I watched it back, even I was shocked at how damning it was. The day of the picnic arrived, Saturday, June 28th. I woke up at 6 in the morning and took my time getting ready. I did my hair perfectly, my makeup flawless. I put on this beautiful yellow sundress that I knew I looked amazing in. When Kevin saw me, he actually said, "You look nice." I smiled and said, "Thank you, baby. It's a special day." He had no idea how special. We got to Riverside Park at 10 to set up. I brought a projector and a screen. Told Kevin I thought it would be fun to show family photos during the picnic. He thought it was a great idea. My hands were shaking as I set everything up, but my face stayed calm. Family started arriving around 11. My sister Rhonda came first. She knew everything and was there for moral support. Then Kevin's brothers Gerald and Thomas, with their wives. Kevin's father, his uncle Jerome, cousins. About 30 people total. Dorothy arrived wearing one of her church hats, and the first thing she asked was where Veronica was. I told her, "Oh, she'll be here soon," with the sweetest smile I could manage. Isaiah and Kennedy were running around playing with their cousins, completely innocent, completely unaware that their whole world was about to change. Watching them laugh and play, my heart broke a little. But I knew I was doing this for them too, so they'd never think this kind of behavior was acceptable, so they'd know their mother was strong enough to stand up for herself. At 12:30, a black Lexus pulled into the parking lot. Kevin's whole face lit up. Out stepped Veronica. She was wearing a designer sundress and heels. Her hair was perfect, and I'll be honest, she was beautiful, young, glowing, confident. She walked over to us like she belonged there. Kevin introduced her to everyone. "This is Veronica from my office." She waved and said, "Hi everyone. Thanks so much for having me." And then I watched this woman hug my mother-in-law. I watched her sit down in my chair, the one I'd sat in for 10 years at these picnics. I watched her chat with my family like she was one of us. She complimented Dorothy's potato salad. She played with the kids. And Kevin stood there looking so proud, like he'd won some kind of prize. I watched all of it in silence, a smile frozen on my face. My sister Rhonda leaned over and whispered, "It's time." I nodded. It was definitely time. I stood up and clinked my glass to get everyone's attention. The whole crowd got quiet and looked at me. I said, "Thank you all so much for coming to our annual picnic. Kevin and I have been hosting this for 10 years now, and today is very, very special. I actually made a video that I want to share with everyone." Kevin smiled at me, completely clueless. I walked over to the projector and hit play. The screen lit up with the title, "The Truth," in big letters. Then the first video clip started playing. It was security footage of Kevin and Veronica in a parking garage, kissing. The gasps from the crowd were immediate. Dorothy said, "What is this?" The next clip showed them checking into a hotel together. The timestamp on the video read March 15th, 2:47 p.m. Kevin jumped up from his chair. "Angela, stop this right now." I looked at him calmly and said, "Sit down, Kevin. Everyone deserves to see this." The video continued. Bank statements appeared on the screen. I'd highlighted every charge he'd made for her. Jewelry store, $1,200. Multiple hotel stays, $800 each. A spa day, $600. All from our joint account. All money that should have gone to our family, to our kids' college funds, to our future. Then text messages started appearing. Kevin to Veronica, "My wife suspects nothing. She's so naive." Veronica to Kevin, "When are you finally going to leave her? I'm tired of hiding." The crowd was completely silent, except for a few gasps and whispers, but I wasn't done. Photos of Veronica's wedding appeared on the screen. Beautiful pictures of her in a white dress, kissing Michael, holding baby Zoe. I narrated over the photos. But wait, there's more. See, Veronica here isn't just Kevin's mistress. She's also a wife and a mother. Her husband Michael had no idea about any of this, just like I had no idea. Veronica stood up, her face pale. Where did you get those?" I smiled at her. "Your Instagram is public, sweetheart. You really should be more careful about what you post." Kevin looked at Veronica with this expression of shock and betrayal. The irony wasn't lost on me. He said, "You told me you were single. You said you'd never been married." Veronica started to say something, but that's when we all heard a truck pull up. Out stepped Michael Thompson. He was wearing a firefighter t-shirt and jeans, and he was carrying baby Zoe on his hip. That little girl was holding her stuffed bear, completely oblivious to what was happening. Michael walked straight up to the crowd, his eyes locked on Veronica. Veronica, what the hell is going on? His voice was steady, but I could hear the pain underneath it. Veronica's face drained of all color. Michael, what are you? How are you here? Michael looked at me and nodded. A silent thank you. Then he looked back at his wife. This woman contacted me. She showed me everything. All your lies, all your excuses, all those nights you said you were working late or out with friends. You were with him. He pointed at Kevin. Kevin tried to defend himself. Man, I swear I didn't know she was married. She told me she was single. Michael turned to him. And I've never seen such contempt on someone's face. You didn't know. What about you? You're standing here with your wife and kids, and you want to talk about not knowing. Kevin's brothers Gerald and Thomas stood up, and I could see the anger on their faces. Gerald said, "Kevin, what the hell is wrong with you? How could you do this to Angela? To your kids?" Dorothy was clutching her chest, looking like she might faint. Kevin's father just shook his head in disgust. But I had one more card to play. The biggest one. I paused the video and pulled up another clip. Oh, Kevin, there's one more thing everyone needs to see. This was security footage from a hotel hallway. It showed Kevin entering room 314. Then it showed Veronica entering the same room 2 minutes later. And then, this is the part that made everyone gasp, it showed a third woman entering that same room. A blonde woman. Definitely not Veronica. Definitely not me. I let that sink in for a moment before I spoke. Kevin, who is she? I showed screenshots of text messages between Kevin and this other woman, whose name was Brittany. In these messages, Kevin told her he was separated and almost divorced. He told her that I was his crazy ex-wife who wouldn't let go. He'd been seeing her for 4 months, promising her a future together, telling her she was the only one. Kevin started stuttering, trying to form words that wouldn't come out. That's not, I can explain. But there was no explanation that would make this better. His uncle Jerome stood up and said, "I didn't raise you to be this kind of man." Thomas walked over to Kevin and said, "You're sick. You need help." The whole picnic had descended into chaos. Veronica was crying, her mascara running down her face in black streaks. Michael adjusted baby Zoe on his hip and looked at Veronica with such sadness. "We're done. My lawyer will contact you." He turned and walked back to his truck without another word. Veronica ran after him, screaming his name, begging him to listen. But he got in that truck and drove away. Kevin tried to approach me, probably to apologize or make excuses, but his brothers blocked his path. Gerald put his hand on Kevin's chest and said, "Don't even think about it. You've done enough." Dorothy walked over to me, and for the first time in 11 years, she looked at me with something other than judgment. Her eyes were filled with tears. She said, "Angela, I am so sorry. I should have been a better mother-in-law to you. I should have seen what kind of man my son really is." It was the first time she'd ever apologized to me for anything. My family surrounded me with hugs and support. Kevin's family had turned away from him. He stood there alone, humiliated, defeated, with nowhere to hide. I could see people in the crowd recording everything on their phones. I knew this was going to end up online, but I didn't care anymore. Let the whole world see what he did. I walked over to Kevin, spoke calmly and clearly so everyone could hear. "You wanted Veronica at this family picnic. You wanted to parade your mistress in front of everyone. You wanted to humiliate me in front of our children and our families. Well, here we are. Except now everyone knows exactly who you are. Everyone sees what you've done." I reached into my purse and pulled out an envelope. "These are divorce papers, already filed. You've been served." Kevin broke down crying right there, actual tears streaming down his face. "Angela, please, we can talk about this. It was a mistake. I love you. I love our family. Please." I looked at this man I'd spent 11 years with, this man I'd built a life with, and I felt nothing. Just emptiness where love used to be. I turned to the crowd and said, "The kids and I are staying. Kevin, you need to leave, now." He looked around at all those faces, his family, my family, people who'd known him for years, and not a single person defended him, not one. His own mother looked away when he tried to make eye contact with her. Finally, he walked to his car alone, got in, started the engine, and drove away in complete shame. After he left, something amazing happened. The family rallied around me and the kids. People came up one by one to hug me, to tell me how strong I was, to say they were there for whatever I needed. Isaiah came up to me with his little face, all concerned. "Mom, is Dad coming back?" I knelt down to his level, touched his face, and said, "Baby, Mommy and Daddy need some time apart. But you and your sister are loved so much by so many people. Nothing will ever change that." The family distracted the kids with games and food. And slowly, the picnic continued without Kevin. My sister Rhonda sat down next to me and put her arm around my shoulders. "You did it, sis. I'm so proud of you." I finally let myself exhale. I'd been holding my breath for months, it felt like. I really did, didn't I? For the first time since January, I felt like I could breathe. By that evening, videos of the picnic were everywhere. TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. It had spread like wildfire. "Woman exposes cheating husband at family picnic" was trending. The videos got millions of views overnight. My phone wouldn't stop buzzing with notifications. Comments poured in from strangers all over the world, supporting me, calling me a queen, saying I was an inspiration. News blogs picked up the story. I got interview requests from talk shows. It was overwhelming. So I turned off my phone and focused on my kids. That was 3 months ago. I'm sitting here in my new apartment now. Well, new to me. I actually got our house in the divorce settlement. Full custody of the kids, child support, alimony. Kevin lost his job because his company had a morality clause that he violated. Last I heard, he moved to another state to start over. Michael and Veronica got divorced too. Their divorce was finalized last month. The kids and I are in therapy, working through everything. It's been hard on them, but they're resilient. Isaiah told me last week that he's proud of me for being brave. That melted my heart. Kennedy still asks when Daddy's coming home sometimes, and those moments break me a little. But we're healing. Every day gets a little bit easier. People ask me all the time if I regret it, if I wish I'd handled it privately, kept it behind closed doors, protected Kevin's reputation. And my answer is always the same. Not even a little bit. He chose to bring his mistress to our family picnic. He chose to disrespect me in front of my children. He chose to humiliate me publicly, thinking I'd just smile and take it like I'd taken everything else. So I chose to expose the truth publicly. Fair is fair. So that's my story. The day I exposed my cheating husband went viral and changed my life forever. Now here's what I want you to do. If this story made you feel something, anger, satisfaction, sadness, hope, leave a comment below. Tell me, was I right to expose him like that, or should I have kept it private? I really want to know what you think. And if you know someone going through betrayal, someone who feels stuck and powerless, share this video with them. Let them know they're not alone. Let them know they have more power than they realize. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because I share stories of women who refused to stay silent, women who fought back, women who reclaimed their power. Like this video if you believe in standing up for yourself. Share it if you believe the truth deserves to come to light. Thank you for listening to my story. Thank you for being here. Remember, you are stronger than your worst day. You are braver than you think, and you deserve respect, loyalty, and love. I'll see you in the next video. Stay strong, queens.